And we are back. All right, apologies for the technical difficulties. I set down the computer to go get a can of LaCroix, and when I came back, it was playing my video from my Jupyter map. Well, anyone wants to ask how I built it, talk to me offline because we have to get onto our final presentation. Crystal, I'm going to say Bechler, and I hope I haven't butchered your name.
It's close. It's Bechler.
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 Crystal, I do not know as well as some of the other presenters. I've only run into her a few times online. But when she came in and volunteered to talk on Kindle Vella, I said that is a new important topic and an eager volunteer to talk about it. So welcome aboard, Crystal.
Thank you.
You need screen share. All right.
Yeah, in a little bit.
Okay.
Maybe I can just start sharing now, then it'll be available. Okay, so I'm here to talk about Kindle Vella. I'm going to talk a little bit about who I am so you guys get to know me a little bit. My name's Crystal Bechler. I'm a writer from the Midwest, Iowa, and I've been writing ever since I was old enough to hold a pencil. A lot of writing stories in the basement as a child, and then I started tackling my first novel when I was 14, and that one is just about ready to be sent out to publishers for hopefully consideration. So it's pretty exciting. I also have another novel that's pretty well finished, and then this Kindle Vella series that I've started. And I really wanted to get into publishing, and now that I have a lot of stories. So one way that seemed like it would be a really good idea would be to start a Kindle Vella. Now, I kind of heard about Kindle Vella through the Apex Writers group. There was someone that came on our Saturday morning talk, I think it was. Her name was Megan, and she was from Amazon Kindle, talking about the new Vella platform last August. And I had never heard of it before, so I was all ears. And she was talking about it being a serial type format, and what that means is it's kind of like the concept of the old TGIF Friday night series where the viewers are really waiting for that next Friday to watch that next episode. Kind of the same concept, but in story form. So you have your novel or just a series of short stories that are related to the same topic, and you can post them out one at a time and get your readers on a regular schedule so that they're ready for that next episode and ready to spend their tokens on it. So you're probably wondering what a token is. So when you go into Kindle Vella, they're going to give you free tokens as a reader, and you get 200 free tokens to get you started on reading. And the episodes range anywhere from, I think, 10 to 20 tokens per episode. So you've got quite a bit of reading once you sign up that is free. And also, the first 3 episodes on any of these series that are here, they're also free. So you can start reading in fantasy, romance, adventure, kind of anything that you would like. And the first 3 episodes are always free. So you see that there are these little kind of hats on here as well. Now those are people's faves. So the readers will get a favorite, and they can only spend it once a week, and they'll give a favorite to their favorite author, their favorite series, and then once that series gets enough faves, they get on the top of this page so that you get more viewership and more people can be aware of your story. So that's kind of a fun thing. I have noticed that people that have a following have kind of done a little bit better in this space because they've brought their own audience with them, and they get a lot of thumbs ups. You can give thumbs ups for every single episode. I'm just going to open one of these so you can see what I'm talking about. So this is the Demon Accord. It is the top #1 Kindle Vella in fantasy. And I should be able to open the episode. So you can open the episode, you can follow the story, and then at the bottom of the episode, it's going to ask you if you want to thumbs up or like the story. I'll just go down here so you can see it. And you can thumbs up. You can see a note from the author. Now, as a writer, these notes from the authors are really important. So if you want to try to get your readers interested in that next story in your series, kind of leave a note on what may be happening next to your character, kind of build some momentum for that next story. And you can also follow here, and then you can see here is the top faves. And I won't click it because I won't have anything else for the rest of the week, but that's how you get to those. A little bit more about Kindle Vella as a publisher. They're going to keep your episodes up unless you tell them to take them down. And you can publish them one at a time, or you can actually schedule a bunch of them to be published whenever you want them to be published. Let's see. You can publish the stories elsewhere after you have 10 episodes, and that 10th episode has been up for 30 days, and you're no longer posting to that series. So that is something that was really exciting for me as well, meaning that once I do actually finish this novella, or if it goes longer and turns into an actual novel, once it's actually complete and I wait 30 days, I can actually publish that on KDP, or I can take it elsewhere and publish. So the rights do kind of return to you after those 30 days are up. They'll hold on to your story for that amount of time. And of course, you can keep everything in the series there as long as you don't add more episodes. To my knowledge, if you add an episode, then that 30 days starts over again, and then you'll have to wait. This one you can see has 41 episodes, and it's not complete because they haven't marked it complete. It looks like they're still going on that one. I want to show you a little bit of the author side of it. When you come into the kdp.amazon.com, you can go into the Kindle Direct. Usually I just search, let me back out so you can see how to get in here. So I'll search for Kindle Vella sign-in, which is how I usually get into my series. And then I'll go down to publish an episode, and it'll bring up the Kindle Vella platform, and then I can go to my library. Then it'll bring up your library and all the stories that you have, the ones that you haven't published and the ones that you have published. And you can go in and you can manage your story. And it's going to pull up your story, all the live episodes, everything that you have in there. And you can see kind of they each get an ASIN number assigned to them automatically. That's not something that you have to pay for or worry about. They take care of all of that. You can see when it was last published too. So if you're trying to follow that 30-day guideline for your last episode, you can see this one was February 1st. So it's been 30 days. So if I take this somewhere else, I could, but we're not going to do that today. I'm actually going to show you how to upload an episode to the Kindle Vella platform. I'm going to go into episode 11, and we'll give it a title. It's going to be Race Day. And then there's a place to insert text. You can upload anything that you have on your device. And I'm just going to go into my racer series. Let's see, not Sand of Time. Okay. And then Kindle Vella Racer, my new episode. Let's see. Does anyone have any questions while I search for this one? Oh, Oh, I think I know where I put it. Yep, there it is. And then you just upload text and it puts it into the document, and then you can review it, see if there's anything that you want to change. You can add notes. You can also put different things in here if you want to kind of tell them about your blog or your website. You can add things in there for links as well. And then when you're done with that, it's going to tell you how many tokens that your readers are going to need to unlock it. This one's not terribly long, so you can see it's going to only take 7 tokens. So if people are watching their tokens, they would be happy with that. You can open a preview, and then you can kind of see what it's going to look like for the reader. You can go through and look for any last edits, make any changes that you would like to by Xing out of that and then going back into the text up here and then making changes as needed. So then when you're all ready, you can just go down here and hit publish. And then I usually just do immediate publication. I know there are people that get a bunch of episodes ready and then they'll publish like once a week or 3 times a week. And I think that the Vella platform does kind of take that into consideration when they're looking at bonuses at the end of the month. And it seems like there are a bunch of Kindle Vella Facebook groups, and it seems like the ones that have had the most success on the platform are the ones that have had multiple episodes published per month and also scheduled a bunch for the following month to actually publish. I know that sometimes the cover can make a difference also. So I do have another cover. I want to show you guys how to update the cover. You have to bear with me. I've never actually updated a cover before. But this one I just created out of some mud and some dirt and some foam I had around the house. But I actually did get a hold of a graphic artist. Actually, my sister out in California, she's a graphic artist, and she was kind enough to provide me with an image for my story. And sometimes if you change up the image, sometimes you can get more readers. So I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, go back in here. Okay, there's the dragon logo. Okay, it must be too big to upload. But anyway, that's where you would go to upload your image. And then there's also things that can attract readers to your Vella. You can select a category. Mine is fantasy, but you can select anything. It's not just fantasy and sci-fi. And there's romance and thriller, and you've got humor, historical fiction, just about anything you can think of. And then there's a second category you can choose too. And then there's these story tags that will help with when they're searching in Kindle Vella. If they are looking for something that has a keyword in it that has dragon or action adventure or racing, it's going to bring those up to the top with these keyword tags. And you can choose any keyword that you want. You can't go past 7. You can have up to 7 at any time. And I'm just going to go out of this for a second. So now we can see that we have the 10 episodes that were live, and we have the one that we just published. And it has the tags of fantasy, young adult, dragon rider, adventure, racing, volcanoes. And if we wanted to create a new episode, we would just click on the create a new episode, and it would open that episode creator that we were just in. A little bit about, I guess I could talk about payments. They do pay once a month on the 15th of the month, and it's based off of how many reads you've had, and also there's a bonus program. The reads, it's based off of how much the people spent for their tokens, and then how many episodes were read. Let's see if I can find that. I'm just going to go into my library, see if I can get to that section. There it is, reports. So they're really good about keeping a lot of reports for you so that you can see kind of how your Vella is doing. I'm just going to turn the lifetime on so we can see everything. And it's going to tell you kind of what your bonuses were for each time period. And then it's going to give you how many episodes were read, how many locked episodes, any amount of royalties that you've gotten. It's going to give you your thumbs ups and your follows, any reviews that you've had. And then it's going to go into a episode by episode count for how many times it's been read and your royalties that you've received against it. So you can see the first 3 episodes are probably going to have a lot more because those are free to read for anyone. And then there's the paywall, and then people start paying to read episodes after that. You can see how many thumbs up you got, how many reads you got, how many episodes, and your royalties from that. And I know it's not a lot right now, but this is kind of an infant platform. It's just in the infancy stage of growing, and they're trying to bring some authors into the platform, so that's why they've got their bonus program. They're trying to get people on board. I think the best thing that you could do if you're interested in Vella is to go ahead and get a story started and make sure that you're very consistent on your episodes, timing, because the Amazon algorithm really does like that consistency in your stories. So I like to publish at least once a month. I try to do 2 times, but it's usually 1 time a month. I don't have any type of email list or anything like that, so this is just people just randomly finding my story, which is kind of fun, knowing that all these people have read something that I wrote and hopefully gotten some joy out of it. So I guess that's about all I have. I'm going to hit the stop share and we can just kind of talk through any questions people have on Vella.
We've got a lot of ones in the chat. Some of them people are pitching in and answering already, and I appreciate that. But I've been seeing some good ones in there.
Okay, I see. What's the optimal length? So the shortest you can go is 600. Kind of the longest they can really let you go is 3,000. The sweet spot seems to be somewhere around 1,200, so that it's not so many tokens that readers are scared off, and it's not so short that they feel like they're not getting a lot to read. Let's see if there's any other questions here. How much are tokens? The first are free. After that, I think, does anyone else have a new number? I think it was like $1.50 for a couple hundred. I don't have the newest figures. I have August. Sorry about that. It's not very expensive to get started.
I do remember it changed a lot depending on how many. If they bought in bulk, they got a cheaper rate, and that your payment was based on the rate they paid So if they bought cheap tokens, you got a cheaper payment. I don't know if that's still the rule.
Yeah, that's still the rule. They are trying to compensate us for the free tokens. So they are kind of giving a little stipend for all the free tokens that have been used, and then trying to give back for the 3 free episodes also. Okay, published on Amazon. Can I revert that to this platform? From what I've heard, as long as it's not published anywhere else and anyone can actually read it, I think you would be safe. I don't know if that refers to things that were previously published. I just know that if it's freely available on the web, that it cannot be on Vella as well, unless it's been there for 30 days and you're no longer posting to it. Oh, thank you, Owen. They'll be reading my series.
Lynn had a good one because I know what the answer used to be, but I'm not sure if it's changed yet. How do readers access the episodes on a Kindle reader, phone app, etc.?
Right now, it is just through the web. I know a lot of people have been trying to get it onto their Kindle and that they're working on that, but I haven't seen that work yet. And we've tried a couple times to get it onto like the Kindle Fire and things like that. But right now, it's just through the web. You'll have to go to Kindle Vella, just Google it. But I know that they're working on that.
And Brett asked about who sets the token price. I don't remember if you mentioned that.
It's based on the word count. So it's so many tokens for so many words. Like that one that we just uploaded was 700 words, and I think it was what, 7 tokens. So, yeah, they said it. I think you could probably read it on your Kindle if you had access to the web and you could just Google it.
And I with my playing around with Kindle, one of the frustrations for me has been that it seems to be hard to link into books compared to what you do with a simple Amazon web page. It's hard. I didn't succeed in finding a way, but maybe it's improved since then. I couldn't find a way to tie my regular Amazon page to my Vella titles. They seem to be separate islands.
Yeah, they're kind of broken right now. I know that they're working on trying to get those to be integrated, but it's not there yet. What does everyone think about the series side of it? That's kind of fun to do little short things and then keep adding to it. I feel like it's a lot less stress. You can just write a little chapter and then post it out and then see what kind of response you get.
It's clearly a feedback-oriented platform, which is nice compared to the books that you got to finish it and then wait a while before you get any feedback. This is very much oriented towards instant feedback.
Definitely. It feels like you almost have to have a hook, like for every beginning and every end, and also for your author notes to get them into the next episode.
Danuta asks, do you outline a lot first? Do you adjust based on reader feedback?
So I have a short story that I've had for a while, and I've just been taking that and revising it and uploading as I go. So it's kind of like taking a rough novella and then taking each chapter by chapter and uploading it as I revise. That's kind of what I've been doing.
Okay. Now, Alex asked something you kind of touched on before, but I think it'd be nice to answer it as a solid single question. What
Okay.
happens when you finish a book? Can you publish it somewhere else when you're done on Vella? You touched on that, but if you can just reinforce some there.
Yeah, the answer is yes. Once it's been up for 30 days and you haven't uploaded anything else to Vella, you can take it anywhere that you would like.
Keith asks, I was thinking about going to Vella for a fantasy series I'm starting to develop. From what you said, that would be great since I can pull those stories later and reformat them for Kindle. Okay, that's not a question, an observation.
Yeah. Cool.
I should read more carefully. Okay. Melissa asks, are there any profits involved at all? Can you make money doing this?
I do know some people that are making like the small hundreds to small thousands on this platform. I know right now it's few and far between, but I know that's what Kindle Vella is working towards. They're working towards making this an author-led platform that's going to be profitable. Right now it's in the infancy stage, and they are giving the stipends and the bonuses at the end of the month to try to get more authors on the platform. And once we get more readers on the platform, then I do believe it'll become more profitable.
That's always the problem with these sort of network effect things, that if there aren't readers, writers won't be there. If there aren't writers, readers won't be there. So they've got to try to bootstrap that.
Yeah.
And we had a mention from Mike Jack, heard that it was Amazon's attempt to create something like Patreon for regular posting.
Yeah, I could see it being kind of like that. I do not personally have a Patreon, so I don't know quite how that works. This is kind of like a pay-as-you-go type thing for the readers. And when they unlock an episode, they have to pay the tokens. If that's anything like Patreon.
It can be. It depends. There are many ways I've seen Patreon run, but one of them is essentially you are paying a regular basis for regular output of stories or story snippets or story chapters and so on.
Okay.
Eleanor makes a good comment, which I kind of wanted to turn into a question earlier and didn't get around to it. Speaking of feedback, reminds you of Wattpad, where you can find out exactly where everyone stopped reading. And you kind of can tell where they stopped in terms of the chapters.
Yeah.
And it's interesting, the comparison to Wattpad. Have you looked into Wattpad before you were into Vella?
I have not. I've heard good things about Wattpad, but I personally have not looked into it.
Okay. All right. Steve says there's also a Patreon model where you're paid for every post you release. Very cool. I do want to mention to people, when I was investigating Vella, and I never got nearly as far as Crystal's gotten, but I was investigating it last year. One of the questions I asked in the Apex call was, do these have to be finished novels, or can they be open ending, essentially like a TV series that you've got an episode every week, but you don't necessarily have an end point? And I wanted to know if that's allowed by the terms, and it absolutely is.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see that one, Demon Accord, has 44 episodes and it's still going.
I'm thinking of some of these serialized fiction things you see, some of them podcasts and so on, like Welcome to Night Vale, that are they aren't closed series. They are just, here is a setting where things happen. We're going to tell stories here, and I could see that working here. Yeah. All right. Mike Jack has a question.
Oh, there are some people that have multiple Vellas, and they've been pulling income that way, where they'll have 5 or 10 different Vellas going at once, where they're publishing, 1 to 3 times a week on each of those. That would be pretty intensive, but that is another option for authors out there if they really want to get into it.
Mike Jack's asking about new readers getting 500 tokens automatically, and you kind of touched on that.
Yeah, it's 200.
Yeah. And then does one have to have an Amazon Prime membership, or just any Amazon account?
Just any Amazon account works. Yeah, you don't need Prime or anything.
Cool. So what sort of comments and feedback have you been getting? Have any readers reached out to you? Have you been seeing any feedback yet?
I have been having readers reach out to me on like Twitter and start following me. I've had people start following me on Instagram, a couple people on Facebook, a lot on Twitter. So they're reaching out and finding me since they've read some stories, which is kind of cool. I can't really tell if it's actually from them, but I wouldn't have any other reason to believe that it's coming from anywhere else because we can't see who the readers are, but I haven't had like a big networking event to drive people to those platforms. So I think it has to be coming from there.
Cool. That's good to know that there's visibility beyond. Pardon me, I just had somebody come into the waiting room. Oh, I had a question too right off the top of my head. Somebody else sneak one in while I try to remember it.
Well, there's a question about TikTok.
Okay.
I do know that some people are doing TikTok videos. They'll like throw their a picture of their cover on TikTok, and they'll have a little bit of music on it, and that seems to be working for them. So that's another way to drive readers.
I had one. I swear I had one. It was something about series length and so on. Oh, it was, do you feel like there's a right number of chapters that readers are looking for, or do they not seem to care?
I haven't gotten much traction on my last couple chapters. I don't know if it's just the length of the thing or if I don't have enough readers to actually go through them, but I'm at like episode 10 and it's kind of seemed to slow down. Kind of take that with a grain of salt. I've only got the one episode.
All right. From Dana Bell, comment, keep in mind each social media platform has its own age group, so it depends which audience you're trying to reach. Absolutely.
I would use tags for that. If you're trying to reach YA, put that as one of your tags.
Julie Pascal, can you link to your author page or regular Kindle books from the individual Vella episodes, maybe in the author notes at the end?
So what I've been doing is I've been going into my blog, and then I've been putting like the racer as a link in my blog. So if people want to read the racer, they'll click on that, and then it takes them right to the Vella page.
And the other direction, can you link from your Vella page out or link from the Vella story out?
As long as you have less than 10% of the words that are in your Vella, you can put it out for promotion.
Okay. Let's see here, looking for other questions. I thought I'd missed one. Pardon me, I am doing things in 5 directions at once, trying to manage things. We just had a gentleman join us in the waiting room here. I thought I could close the waiting room, but I couldn't. More comments from Steve. Steve, you have been absolutely a wonderful help to this talk with your answering questions in the chat. Thank you very much for that. Because this is one of the things I mentioned in my Writers of the Future talk is we don't have to necessarily always pay it forward. Sometimes we can be paying it to each other right now today. So helping each other out like this is absolutely wonderful and in the spirit of Mike. So are you planning to stick with the one series? Do you have an endpoint in mind? Do you have another one going, or?
Right now, I do not have an endpoint in mind. It's kind of ongoing. I know that I have about 30 chapters that are written already that I'm going through and revising. But at the end of those chapters, it's not even the end of the book, because it was a novella that I was trying to pull together for writers of the future, and it kind of turned out to be too long. So it really doesn't even have an end point, so I'm not quite sure. And then one thing that was kind of fun that my brother and I had talked about, I've got a lot of these old papers from when I was a kid, and I've got tons of different story ideas that are out there. So I started pulling these out, and I'm thinking of creating a few other Vellas based off of things that I wrote as a child, and just taking those and updating them and creating at least 4 episodes so we can get the 3 free runs and the next one started, and just see if there's people that are interested in that too.
So it sounds like you're definitely taking a long game approach of this, that you're not expecting immediate payoff, but you're hoping to cultivate.
Yeah, it's more just for fun and to actually get people out into the worlds and to have them read the stories and to enjoy it too. So I'm not really terribly like upset that I'm not getting any big payback, because seeing those 86 readers, that was really a lot of payback. That was pretty cool.
Okay.
A lot of the Vella sites are really good on helping each other write and helping each other come up with ideas to gain readers too. So it's not just a, hey, here's my story type Facebook group.
Cool. If you get a chance, could you share some of those links in the chat? Because those could be helpful. This is such a new thing that everybody's kind of groping around, and you've given as much help today as I've gotten from Kindle themselves.
Oh, cool. I took their notes that we looked at in August.
People have really had to sort of learn this as on their own, and learning it as a group, like you talk about, probably helps a lot.
Yeah, there's one author group that has been super helpful. Like, they'll even have polls that'll say, you know, I got this much of a bonus, here's what I did to get it. And then you can kind of compare and try to see where the algorithm is hitting. That's been kind of helpful. I'm trying to think of some other cool things that they've done for readers. They'll do like a writer's lift, where they'll pick one reader, or not one reader, one writer, and they'll put their story up and have everyone like leave a review on it so that they can get more reads and help them improve. I'm gonna see if I can find some names that I'm in. Okay. Kind of working off of the computer and the phone, so I'll just type in, it's once you go into Facebook, it's Kindle Vella authors. That one's a really good one. And that's just in groups. There was one that was for readers and writers. Let's see if I can find that one. There it is. Kindle Vella Readers and Writers Promotion Group. And again, you just search for that in Facebook. Let's see, there was another one that I really liked. They're really responsive with questions. Oh, here's a fantasy one that's pretty fun.
Nice. I'm starting to see that having a good community really makes a difference in this space.
Yeah,
that you're learning a lot.
Yeah, everyone has been really helping each other out. There it is. Okay. Yeah, it's
Nice.
really been kind of author led. There hasn't been a lot of feedback from Megan and the team. I know that there's been a couple times where our Facebook groups have reached out to her for specific questions, and she is pretty good about responding. But there isn't like a big group that keeps talking to us. It's us helping each other grow the platform.
Bella mentions a couple of with an E and redo, read with a D. And yeah, let's be clear. Amazon by no means invented serial fiction online. They are just sort of like anything else they do. They're an 800-pound gorilla that's really, really attractive because of the huge reader base they can potentially reach. But Wattpad was there before. Dream and Redo, those have been along. I've got at least 3 others that right now today are slipping my brain. But there's been a lot of the serial fiction out there, but they don't have necessarily Amazon's marketing push behind it.
Yeah, Amazon is like the 800-pound gorilla. They're trying to get into this market too and get the readers interested in this new platform. You can still serialize books on your own site. It's just not going to be, there's not going to be like a profit model for it, like unless you link it to Vella, kind of like what I've been trying. Yeah. Or if there's some kind of paywall, I mean, but that wouldn't be on Vella.
Yeah.
Yeah, as long as there's a paywall, I think you can post it on your site as well. You might need to check the rules on that one, but I think it just can't be openly available to the public through Google. Like if it's behind a paywall, I think you would be okay posting it on your site and on Vella. But check the rules just to make sure.
Mm-hmm. I mean, classically, yes, people have successfully serialized their stories long before any of this. The big example of this is Andy Weir originally wrote The Martian as pages posted to his blog. And people started saying, hey, I came in late and this is really hard to read this way in blog format. Could you just turn this into a Kindle book so I can read it? And he said, I suppose I can do that. And he did. And he went and looked and said, but Amazon won't let me give it away for free. I'm going to have to charge you 99 cents. Not my choice, but they for Kindle. And bam, all of a sudden it becomes the #1 99-cent ebook on Kindle by a significant amount and takes off. And all of a sudden, publishers come knocking at his door saying, what about the print rights?
That's awesome.
So people have succeeded with serial fiction, but just putting it out there isn't enough. You're going to have to do the marketing. You're going to have to do the outreach. Steve, more comments, more good comments from Steve. Yes, if you have a paywall on your site, you can republish on Vella, but not if you're publishing for free. All right. Other questions, anyone? I'm seeing a lot of potential here. This is, for me, you're reminding me of the very earliest days of Kindle when you had, again, the bootstrap problem of you need to get the readers, you need to get the writers back and forth. I am seeing that if anybody can make this go big, it could be the Amazon marketing department, but I don't see it yet. I'm just sort of thinking, but it's good then to be in early before 500,000 other people are.
Definitely. Kind of get your platform and your readers set and try to get things built up before it does hit big. And even if it doesn't, it's a fun place to play. And you get to retain your rights and you can publish your book when you're done with it. So that's helpful too for people. Like, I used to jump around a lot. Like, I'm one that I'll have like a general outline and then I'll jump and write whatever I want. This has been forcing me to revise and publish in order. So if that helps anyone out there that has that same problem.
Todd has mentioned, I have not found any details on transporting my available Amazon book, nor any prohibitions. Do you have information on that? Because I kind of thought that was a no.
I don't think that you can go the other way. Once it's been published out in the world and people can get to it, I don't think you can take it into the Vella space.
And their terms on that sort of thing are
Yep.
very long. There's a lot of detail there. It takes some reading to get through it.
Yeah, it's like 2 or 3 pages of fine print, but I'm sure if there's a prohibition on that, it will be in the fine print there. But
Yep.
if you sign up for Kindle Vella, it'll give you that fine paperwork to read, and then you'll be able to see.
Right. Other questions? Vella is a beast that must be fed.
Yeah, let's give it some more books.
Steve's saying reading was that you could take books that were published so long as you own them and they're not available free anywhere, and that should include Amazon. We'll want to do some research and some follow-up on this, so stay tuned because we'd like to get some good, solid answers here.
Yeah, I could probably reach out to Megan through one of my Facebook sites and just see what she has to say about it.
Cool. All right. If we have no more questions, we could finish 3 minutes early here if you'd like, and can go into our closing remarks. So,
Thank you, everyone. This has been fun.
all right. And thank you all people for the great questions on this. This has been amazing. So this has been an incredible day, and I want to thank everyone, Crystal and Tina and Marina, Andrea and Mike Jack and Melissa and Kevin and Stuart. You all have come through with flying colors. I've just been so pleased and happy. The feedback coming in from the audience tells me that you're doing your pay it forward, and that is so wonderful. It is just, I'm tingling here with warmth from how successful this has been in helping people out. And I want to thank all of them. I want to particularly thank people who were not on the program, but who I wouldn't have done this without their help and encouragement and their feedback and their, what do you think you're doing? Try this. Dawn Ray Ammon is on the call, and she is one of my absolute sounding boards for all projects, and encourages me in some and shoots me down in others. Dawn Ray and Jenna Ita are the two founders and co-organizers of FireCon Conference, which is one of the best educational conferences for creatives I have ever seen, and became even better when we were forced to go on Zoom. It's the best Zoom conference I have experienced, period. They really understand how to do Zoom, and I've learned a lot from them. Along with Dawn Ray's support, Carrie English, who couldn't be here today, for those of you who are in Writers of the Future, still struggling to get your next story in. She is so busy with slush reading right now for that she is completely buried. She wished she could be here. And my friend, editor Bill Emerson, is basically my first reader on pretty much everything, unless something is an invited short that I feel like, okay, that needs to go straight to the editor. Everything else goes through Bill. Bill just shook his head when I told him I was going to do this and said, yeah, you are, it'll happen. but you're still crazy. So all of these people have been so supportive. All of people who've spread the word to all of the different writing groups. We had at one point as many as 48 people here in the conference, which was, I was hoping for 10. So thank you all for your interest, and I hope we have really paid it forward to you. And keep in mind, again, someday, not very far down the road, you're going to have a chance to pay it forward too. So Mike, to me, to you, Mike, to all these presenters, to you, presenters who haven't come through Mike, you're all part of the chain. And Mike can take his chain back through Asimov and Clark and so on. It's all part of a long chain. As more than one presenter today spoke about, it's not a competition, it's a community. And we are helping each other. And today we paid it forward, which is exactly what I hoped for. Just not, I couldn't have imagined how on the scope. So thank you. Any last questions from anybody before we close it up for the day? Feel free to unmute yourself if you just want to talk.
How profitable is this?
As far as the Vella?
Yes.
Right now, sure what the profit level is for any particular author. Crystal, have you heard any specifics?
There is a poll that's out there that kind of gives ranges, and there's a lot of people in the range of 300 to 500 a month per serialized story. Right now, I'm not anywhere close to there. There are some kind of unicorns out there that are getting the 1,000 to 5,000 a month per Vella. So I do know it's possible, but that's kind of the unicorn.
Linda asks, maybe I missed it, but since I had to work through part of this, how do I access the recordings? Very important question, and thank you for asking, because I was supposed to mention that in these closing remarks and didn't. What's going to happen now is when I close this, Zoom is going to, in something like an hour, because it takes a while for them to process, in something like an hour is going to tell me my video is ready. And then I'm going to download it. While I do have Starlink internet, which is pretty fast compared to what you normally get out here in the rural boondocks, it's probably going to take me 2 hours to download. And then I start the process of importing it into Camtasia, which is my video editing tool. And I will split it up into individual segments by speaker and add their speaker bio information and so on to make sure that they're getting proper contribution, and then post those back up to YouTube and post links on the Pay It Forward Day page. Mike'sWriterKids.com is the simple URL. Let me put that in here. Again, Mike's Writer Kids, which redirects to a page on my shoemaker.space site. I figure people would be able to remember Mike's Writer Kids easier than some subpage. And that will go out. Everybody who I have an email address for, which should be all of you, I will send out a link to the page and to the videos when they're all ready. This could take me through the weekend, but I do promise we're going to see these videos up there. I want people who couldn't be, some of the people who tried really hard to sign up and then life got in the way. I want as many people as possible to get a chance at this knowledge. So, other questions?
I'd kind of like to ask some permission here. I currently have an open anthology. It's an open call, and I am looking for writers.
That's the Ring of Fire?
That's the Ring of Fire, yes.
I need to talk to you because I might have one for that. It's possible. And it looks fun. So please go ahead and give us details,
Okay, do you want me, I can go ahead and post it here in the chat real quick.
please. Yeah.
All right, I just wanted permission, just wanted everybody to know. I'm really excited about it. Now, I am also looking for romance writers because I want to do a second volume with just romance stories using the same theme.
Cool.
So, thank you guys. I'll be right back.
All right. Other questions, other comments?
I just wanted to say I want to thank everybody for making this available to people overseas. Only through Zoom, only in this sort of venue are we able to engage with you all in these environments. So it's really such a deep, and I completely am honored to be here, that you've made it possible.
Well, we certainly are happy to have you join us. I believe we had another attendee, or at least a sign up from Indonesia. I don't know if he managed to get in or not. But yeah, this is the internet. It's everywhere. We don't have to be tied to one location now. So,
Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. Can I also announce my open anthology?
please.
It's Witches of a Certain Age, paranormal women's fiction. And the due date is April 1st, and that's not a joke. And I posted the link to it in the comments.
Cool. And Steve is going to give us a link to his Vella story. So I look forward to that. All right.
Camden.
One more question.
Please.
Will the people who are seeing these recorded have a way of adding their questions to the chat so that the people giving the talks can respond afterwards? Because I have a friend in Australia who, due to the time zone difference, couldn't make this.
I'm sorry, I lost part of your question because my wonderful Starlink internet sometimes cuts out.
My question was, will the people who missed seeing this live and asking questions live and in the chat live, will there be some way of their being able to continue chat, comments, questions, so that the people giving the talks would be able to entertain extra questions from them as well later?
Good question. I plan to include with the videos on my site links to their individual blog sites, social media sites, and so on, so that you can track them down and contact that through that. They all have got contact pages and so on. So
that's not the same thing as continuing the conversation on here, so that everybody else gets to see the question and answer as well.
that's an interesting possibility, that I could create a pay it forward day group to be a common place where people can take this to. I hadn't considered that, but you know, none of this had a plan, so therefore can't say it's not part of my plan because I didn't have any. So let me think about that, and it could certainly be something we can do in terms of a Facebook group. And then the question is, people would have to voluntarily go follow it and watch it and so on. I would invite all of the presenters to it. I know that two very active on Facebook anymore at all, and Kevin says he's trying to minimize the habit because of his productivity issues, but at least you would have some access to the presenters who choose to participate there. And that alarm is my phone reminding me that it's time to write. This is 6 p.m. is normal time to stop doing whatever else I'm doing and spend an hour writing. So that was just about perfectly timed. Thank you all again. Thank you all the presenters. Thank you the attendees and the great questions. I am going to now sign off, and I might not write. I might go get myself some barbecue because I think it was a good day and I want to celebrate it.
Absolutely. Congrats,
You
Martin.
deserve it.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Martin.
Yep.
That's
Thank
cool
you.
though, that alarm to write. I gotta try that.
Thanks, Martin.
It usually goes off right during critique group at 6 o'clock. So
Amy pointed out that people can put comments on YouTube.
true. Very good point. All right. Well, thank you all. And I need to go find some barbecue. And do some
Goodbye.
writing.
Enjoy the barbecue.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Martin.